My name is Christos Vaitsis. I'm the business creation manager for the Scandinavian node of EIT Health, which is focusing, or the accelerator, we call it accelerator, which is focusing on supporting startups with different needs and different mature stages, from very early stage up to mature companies who want to scale up the business to other European markets or outside Europe even. But before we go and see all the different programs and opportunities for 2019, I would like to say a few words of what EIT Health is, because I suspect that probably that's not everyone is aware about that. So EIT Health, it's a body, it's supported by the EIT, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, which is a body of European Union. And EIT has 6 knowledge and innovation communities. One of this is health, focusing on health, and there are 5 more on raw materials, digital, energy, climate, and so on. So EIT Health, it's one of these communities. It's a network of innovators spread all over Europe. And innovators, we mean partners, entities who pay membership fees to be part of the network and benefit from what EIT Health has to offer and contribute to European community. So we can see that EIT Health is spread all over Europe. There are offices and nodes representing EIT Health in Spain, France, UK, Ireland, Germany, and so on. And we belong to Scandinavia node, which is, we have Sweden, Denmark, and Estonia in Scandinavia. And we can see some of the partners, mainly the partners of EIT Health are academic partners, universities, business partners like big corporates. We have, for example, in Scandinavia, Thermo Fisher, we have MSD, Novo Nordisk in Denmark, but also public partners, which is very, very interesting because the Scandinavia node represents right now, has 6 public partners which represent 40 to 50% of the population in Sweden and Denmark. So these are also partners of EIT Health and are the ones who usually provide the needs that we focus the investments and the funding in EIT Health, because they know the citizens and the patients and the needs. So this is a picture right now of Scandinavia. These are the partners that we have. All of them are divided into core and associate partners. Core partners are more influential on where EIT Health is going in the future and will go in the future, which focus areas should we invest and move along. And the associate partners are more of like following the progress, but also can be active and participate and ask for funding. But there is a limit. There is a limit for associate partners up to funding they can get from EIT Health, which is 350,000 euro per year. The core partners have no limit in how much they can ask. So, yes. So what all this mean for partners who are partners of EIT Health, and what does it mean for the public, the citizens and patients? For partners, it means that, and that's the main value of EIT Health, it's a network. So there is a lot of expertise in this, more than 140 partners spread all over Europe, of academic institutions, big corporates, public partners, research institutes, and so on. So there's a lot of knowledge, access to this, access to stakeholders and expertise, access to markets that can be accessed through our partners, and access to finance. And how do we do all this? We have 3 main instruments that work, try to incorporate business, research, and education in one place. So the first part is the research or the innovation projects that we call them. This is built on collaboration between partners. More than 50% of the funding of EIT Health every year goes to innovation projects. They are more like Horizon 2020 collaborations in that level. And then we have the campus, which provides educational activities for different groups of people. This can be students, citizens and patients, healthcare professionals, but also young entrepreneurs who want to get trained on how to be an entrepreneur and work on a specific business idea that they may have. And the accelerator, which we will talk about today, and is focusing on startups, supporting startups in different maturity stages. And the mission of the accelerator supporting startups is to be a partner of choice on a European level and not compete with local or national initiatives like Vinova or for example, but to complement and offer support that probably these national activities cannot offer because of the huge network of EIT Health that can take local companies and bring them in a European level in different ways. Since 2016, we have supported all over EIT Health more than 500 companies, and you can see where do they fall. Most of it digital health and medtech, and 20% of them in biotech. In the Scandinavia level, we have supported since 2016 around 70 companies so far. Every year this number increases because all programs are refreshed every year. We evaluate each program every year and we rerun it next year if it's a really successful program. And the companies we have supported since 2016, they are now, some of them raising investments, and we just did a very rough estimation and can be up to 50 million euro, but there are data that we don't have yet for all companies. 20% of them, they have launched the product into the market after the support of EIT Health, and 56% of them is working or is in progress to do that. Here we have some keywords used by these companies to describe in which area the products are belong to or fall into. So you can see that monitoring is one big treatment, drugs, wearables, diagnosis, and so on. I would say that it's really, as we see in these numbers, medtech and digital health is most of the companies that we also have in Scandinavia. But we have fewer biotech, but really strong biotech companies. And you can see some of the companies here. You may recognize some of them. Not all of them, of the 70 are here, just a sample. And what does this finally mean for the public? So, and what is the main goal of EIT Health? Is to strengthen the healthcare systems on a European level, but also to promote and change mindsets and behaviors when it comes to healthy living and active aging, and contribute to a sustainable health economy in Europe, which means to impact costs for healthcare on a European level, lower costs for hospitalization, and so on. That was a brief overview of EIT Health, and now we're going to each of the programs that the Accelerator program is providing. All programs can be found in this link as well, eithealth.eu/accelerator. And most of the applications from companies to the programs should be submitted through this link. If we have a list of attendees afterwards, I can also share this presentation so you can have all the information there. So what we see here, the programs start, we said in the beginning that the programs that we offer go from really early stage, not even from companies in some cases, so it's not necessary that you have a company, but you have a business idea, you own the IP, and you want to start a company. So we have even these cases up to expanding a mature company into European markets and to global markets outside Europe. So here we have a bunch of programs for early stage, 1, 2, 3 programs for a little bit after that, validation stage, and programs that mainly related to expanding the business, talking to investors, getting visibility on a European level, and so on. So we start from the first one, training to validate a business idea. And here we have Different programs for either early stage startups or teams of entrepreneurs or students or PhD, postdocs, researchers, and so on. So the bootcamps, we had 5 bootcamp programs in 2019. And what is happening here is that the teams can join one of them, get up to 10,000 euro for traveling and accommodation. So everything is paid for the companies or the teams. And they spend 1 to 2 months in average in all these programs abroad. And this time, this duration can be divided into face-to-face activities, also online activities. So it doesn't mean that 2 months they have to be physically in another country in Europe, which can be difficult for some of the teams or companies. And what do they get here is that they validate the business idea, and they should be on a position after this program to decide if they should start a company or not. If it makes sense with the business idea that they have, that is validated, and in different markets could be something really interesting and can be a business concept. So we see that 2019 we have 2 digital health, 2 medtech bootcamps, and 1 we combines both. The validation lab, the first one, is a medtech bootcamp. It's for startups, early stage startups, or teams that want to register and start a company. Yes, so the program, the application deadline is June 17th, given by Guest Delft, which is one of the best incubators right now as was ranked by UBI Global, number 2 I think in the world. It's a really good program. It's one of the first programs, bootcamp program we had in EIT Health since 2016. And they spent the time 1 to 2 months there to validate the business idea, the medtech business idea, and they also travel to Denmark, Belgium, and Spain for short trips to meet local partners of EIT Health and learn about the market in these countries as well. So they get a good idea of 3-4 European markets. There is a contact person there, and the program, if I'm sure, starts in August up to, for the team selected, up to September, October. The second one, which is also medtech bootcamp, is in Munich, similar to the one in Netherlands, up to 2 months participation, and travels are including Coimbra in Portugal, Paris, Barcelona, and Łódź in Poland. So other places here, again in medtech, but this is only for researchers or postdocs or PhD students and so on, no companies. So there are some kind of differences from bootcamp to bootcamp. Other bootcamps can be, we can have early stage companies, other not, or vice versa. The third one is in both medtech and digital health. It's one of the bootcamps that also provides access to Summit incubator in Boston, which is also one of very good incubator globally. 2 months of the program, they spend it in Barcelona mainly, and they travel also to Netherlands and Boston, the finalists of the program. The deadline for this, of the 2 first bootcamps we saw, is 17th of June and starts in August. The 3 that we're going to see now, including this, the application is in March and it will run in June, I think May in June. So there are 2 waves of bootcamps in 2019, 2 programs in the summer and after, and 3 programs before summer. And this program is only for soon to be incorporated startups. No one else can participate. Then we have the 2 digital health bootcamps. This is in Dublin. Again, in March 13 is the application. And the traveling, apart from Dublin, includes Grenoble, Newcastle, and Madrid. The same concept. They validate the business idea on digital health, and they get out of it with a decision or not, if they should start a company. Or, I'm sorry, this is only for digital health startups already, so it's for them to validate the business model that they have, work on a business model canvas, maybe. And the next digital health is also for only incorporated startups, but only in mobile health. And the e-boat has a duration of 6 weeks, which most of it will be on a boat, actually. It's a very interesting program. So we'll be in a boat from Stockholm to Tallinn, Riga, I think Copenhagen as well, and which other city? In Kaunas University in Lithuania. So most of the validation and the workshops and seminars takes place on a boat for this one. And it's probably the one closest to us here in Scandinavia that you can send applications if you have. But it's only for startups who are working on mobile solutions.
How do you send the application? By bottle mail?
That's a good question. Okay, so these were the 5 bootcamps. Then we have another program similar to this, but longer in duration, Kikes and Balls from Spain. And this is only for researchers who own the IP of the research project. No companies, no students, only researchers. The goal here is to, on a 50 months period, work on a valorization plan of the idea. And the first 8 months, you're trained on how to do that and what you think to make a concrete valorization plan. The 8 months is not all face-to-face. It can be online, it can be face-to-face. It's up to the company with the organizers to discuss this. And they can get up to 100,000 euro to do this, but they have to start a company afterwards. And Kike Samples will take equity from this startup afterwards. These are specific criteria that apply to this program. And within March, we have the deadline is once a year for this program. So only researchers here. And the last program is the Health Venture Lab for early stage companies. In this case, we're looking for companies who are close to a minimum viable product. And they want to develop that into more concrete prototype. The duration is longer, it's also 6 months here. And it should be registered companies, as I said. And it runs by GE Healthcare in Budapest. Again, here we have online sessions, but there are also visits to GE Healthcare in Budapest to meet the partners there, experts that will help the companies work on the development of the prototype further on. I think, yes, and there are, I think, some trips in Woods and other cities in Hungary. So all applications for these programs, the bootcamps, 5 in total, through Optimi, all of them. The next stage is the funding, or I should say the next stage of or group of programs is 1, 2, 3 that belong to the validation stage of companies that we usually support. I said in the beginning that it's EIT Health, the value of EIT Health, it's a network. It's nothing without the partners. If there is no partners, there is no EIT Health, right? So it's all about the network that someone accesses. It's not just the funding, and we're not looking for companies who just want to take the funding and say goodbye. We want them to be part of the network, and it's really, from what we've seen so far, it's really interesting for them and very beneficial for them to grow the company. So for this purpose, we have a network of living labs spread all over Europe for companies to access and validate the product on a real environment, and this can be even hospitals we have as living labs, so they can access patients. We have test beds that they can try a technical solution or something. Living labs, like if you know in Copenhagen, the most recent one is the Strandvej. It's a rehabilitation center. It's the main living lab of city of Copenhagen, which tests solutions for only for elderly people, any kind of solution from all over the world. They get applications. And they try the solutions, and if the results are really good for the city of Copenhagen, then they procure the solution for the whole city. So this kind of living class as well, but it's, I mean, we have right now more than 100 of them. and they're spread all over Europe. So different services, different. And then we have the network of mentors and experts. So people, more than 150 people right now, who can offer expertise on specific needs that a startup has. So 1 to 3. So I'll start from funding. So every year we provide 50,000 euro to companies who want to shorten the time to market. So this is a commercialization funding. Anything that it needs, that a company needs to do to bring the product closer to the market. So we see, for example, medtech companies applying who usually want to use this money to apply and make an application for a CE mark, for example. Because also another goal of this program is to help the companies to prepare, start talking to investors, which in this case, for example, the CE marking is really needed. I should mention here that the companies that apply and get this funding, or any company in EIT Health, within 1 year, they can get up to 50,000 euro. Which means that if you get it already from here, you cannot participate in another program that provides funding within EIT Health. You have to wait 1 year more, right? What we ask here, the companies, is to have a co-funding of 50% of the amount that they request from EIT Health. Maximum is 50,000 euro. So if a company applies for 50,000 euro, they need to have 25,000 euro, either in cash, which can be funding that or grants they have got from other sources like Vinova, for example, or it can be in-kind contribution in, for example, the value of getting hosted in Medeon and getting incubated in Medeon in a specific program, which has a value of, let's say, 10,000 euro, right?
At least.
Yeah. And both these ways of co-funding your project can be combined. So one can have 10,000 from Vinova and 50,000 in kind. So this can be combined together as co-funding for the application. The program is out once a year. This year we have a deadline 27th of March. The application, I should say, is really straightforward. So you need to reflect on things that usually the startups working all the time anyway. So the innovativeness of the product, what's the market, who is going to buy it, why it's unique, what's the competitive advantage, these kind of things, right? And one very important thing is how strong is the team. If is the team enough, the team members, to bring this product forward. So we have seen applications here of really good research people behind the product, but they didn't know anything about business, for example, and what one needs to do to work on a business, or they were lacking technical aspects. So it's better to have a little bit of everything, or a plan how to do that, if you lack it, and you can probably use the 50,000 euro for that. And have a strong team that can support the project. So this is a local Scandinavian, and each node has its own budget to run this program every year. In Scandinavia we have 650,000 euro for 2019, which means that we can fund up to 13 companies asking for 50,000 euro in 2019. Usually we get, I don't know if it will be the case this year, but last year we got 30 applications. We had less money though, last year. It's increased this year. 2017 we got 40 applications, but we expect around 40, 50 maybe this year. So if we fund 13, it's 1 out of 4, out of 5, usually. So the money one can that gets from Head Start program, the funding, can also some of them be used to access the network of Living Labs or the network of experts, which is something that we actually ask the company who are selected for Head Start to use up to 4% of the funding to access one of this, or both, or other events that we run in EIT Health. The network of living labs, we said more than 100 living labs right now, spread all over Europe. We have 6 or 7 in Scandinavia, and we're expecting more. To access the living labs, you either get the funding from EIT Health and you pay yourself the living lab. So this is how it works actually, that the living lab provide the services into our platform. They're all listed in a platform that the startups can go in and see what kind of living labs we have right now in Europe, what kind of services they provide and how much it costs. And depending on what they're looking for, they can pay the living lab themselves, either with the funding from EIT Health or from their own pocket. And there are different prices depending on where which country the living lab is and what kind of services they provide. The application is really ongoing, but we just have some cut-off dates that one can submit an application throughout the year. Again, from the same platform as the Head Start and the bootcamps. Optimize. And the next one is the network of mentors and coaches. I said we have more than 150 mentors and experts right now. The way it works that we have another platform that all mentors are there, having their profile with the expertise, background, and in what they are experts and how many years, for example, of experience in what area. And we really ask specific details when it comes to the expertise. And on the other hand, we have the startups who can go into the platform. There is a filtering functionality that they can start looking for mentors based on what they need to find. The startups, when they register for this program, we interview them one by one to see what kind of needs do they have for mentoring and coaching and prioritize these needs. And together then we sit down and looking for mentors on the platform, or they can do that themselves. The mentors, on the other hand, they can apply and they get vetted by a specific committee of EIT Health who vets all different experts. And if they're approved, then they're part of the network. For this platform for startups, there's a different platform. It's not through Optimi. My contacts are, we will see my contact details and my colleague contact at the end that you can contact us and we will guide them how to apply. So we saw now programs, early stage and validation, and we go now to startups, programs for startups who are more mature and they want to raise investments, they want to get exposure, visibility, and so on. So the first program is the European Health Catapult. Here we accept biotech, medtech, and digital health companies every year, once a year, who are looking for at least 500,000, or they want to seek 500,000 at least in equity by the end of the year or the beginning of next year, 2020. This program is both regional and European. So we have the first stage that we get applications in Scandinavia, and other nodes do the same. We filter the companies through an evaluation committee that we have, and we select 12 to 15 of them in biotech, medtech, digital health for a pitch competition, local in Scandinavia. And then after this pitch competition, we select 2 for each of the 3 categories, and we send them centrally, and all nodes do the same, that they compete then each other with other European companies who did the same before, on a European level, but by category. So we end up having 3 categories, 14 startups in each, and that's the semi-finals. And half of them are selected from the semi-finals to go to the finals, which is every year in EIT Health Summit. Throughout all this journey, they get pitch training from very good pitch trainers that we have in EIT Health. They get coaching on how to mature the business plan, exposure to investors. They get to pitch to investors in different sessions, open sessions, closed sessions, and so on. And at the end, if they make it to the finals, they get to pitch in front of EIT Health Partnership that we have every year in the summit. 400 people, 500 people are there. So it's really a lot of visibility. and exposure to investors. And also there are prize money for those who make it to the finals. The first for each category, biotech, medtech, digital health, takes 40,000 euro, the second 20,000 euro, and the third 10,000. So it's a mixture of visibility, exposure, prize money, a little bit of everything. The next programs that we have is 3 investment programs to reflect different maturity stages, and we start from the first actually cross-country pan-European crowdfunding platform within life sciences only. And this is for early stage companies who are looking from at least $500,000 up to 10 million euro. And the way that it works is that the company sends an application which they need to send an application based on specific criteria. They get evaluated by a committee of the crowdfunding program. Once they're accepted or considered as eligible, they need to pay themselves the whole prospectus for preparing the campaign, which includes the video, which costs 5,000 euro, the due diligence, and other things that in total costs around 40,000 euro. This is money that the startup themselves need to cover. We understand that it can be a lot for a startup to pay this, but it's really huge visibility that they get from this crowdfunding platform in the campaign. We have an email list already, more than 500,000 healthcare professionals all over Europe who expect to get notified on this when we have a campaign for a company. And these healthcare professionals, they are categorized by specialties, so cardiologists, radiologists, and so on. And the campaign itself is expected to reach more than 500,000 citizens all over Europe. So it's it will be a lot of visibility, and through our media channels, through newspapers, through different ways. The next program is the Investor Network, which is for a little bit more high maturity companies who seek Series A, and I would say also small Series B, maybe, up to 30 million euro. This is more a classical way of investments. So we have a platform, a network of investors, like the mentoring coach network and so on. So there's a platform where all investors are there, and the startups apply based again on a specific list of criteria, which actually have on one of the flyers there, that you're welcome to come by and take some afterwards. And if they're eligible and at the stage that the investors of the program think they are in a good position, then they're visible to the network. But then it's up to the investors to get in contact with them, because the investors can see each startup within the platform, but the startups cannot see the investors. So it's up to investors. And to facilitate this connection between them, we're planning right now both web pitches for startups to pitch into investors and face-to-face pitches. The last program, which is not up and running yet, but it will be within 2019, it's a venture center of excellence, and we're looking here for a really high potential companies who want to raise more than 30 million euro. And this program is right now a collaboration between European Investment Fund and EIT Health. Both Investor Network and VCOE are looking into co-investments between VCs, family offices, business angels networks, and so on. So it can be any kind of investor within life sciences that can want to syndicate with other investors on a European level. The applications for crowdfunding, it's ongoing, there's no deadline. This is the link, it's a different link because it runs by a company on behalf of EIT Health. And for Investor Network, it's through the same platform as most of the programs through Optimine. And there's also ongoing, there are different cut-off dates, but it's really ongoing. So these were the three investment programs. Then we have expansion to European markets and expansion to global markets. So Bridgehead, it's about expanding the business in the European market. It's again a network of incubators, accelerators, cluster of innovation clusters. We call them catalyzers. And the goal here is to bring all these incubators again in another platform and launch a call, for startups who want to access these incubators. We give them up to 30,000 euro. A platform, it doesn't mean necessarily a physical platform, right? So we provide up to 30,000 euro to the companies, and the ones that are selected, which with the main goal to expand the business to another European market, we physically bring all the different incubators, which you can see here, who we have so far. More of them are coming. So we bring them physically in one place, and the startups explain the needs they have for expanding the business to another European market, and the incubators explain what kind of services they can offer. Which in most of the cases that the startups need is to know about the market in the new European country, about the regulations, about the reimbursement schemes and everything. And it's up to them to match in these matchmaking sessions, and if they do, then the startup pays the incubator and visits the incubator to stay there for 1 or 2 months in this country and stay to do a soft landing and learn about the market there. And this runs twice a year. The first deadline is 27th of February, really soon. And the second will be mid-May 2019. Again, this after the application period, we have evaluation committee who evaluates all applications for startups, and then we select the winners that way. And the last program is expansion to global markets, which is actually, it will be from 2020 the same philosophy, that we bring in one place all partners who can provide Go Global services. And I will explain what can that be. On the other side, we'll have the startups who want to access and select which one of these Go Global services is suitable for them, and visit and learn about a market outside Europe. But for this year, 2019, it's the last year that we have calls for 4 Go Global programs right now, and we have a call for each one of them up to 27th of March, accepting applications, and they can visit the Canada program to learn about Canada, or China, Hong Kong in another program. The Canada runs in, if I'm sure, yes, it's in France, runs by the French node of EIT Health. So they have to go there and stay for some days and learn about the Canada market. Another one in China and Hong Kong, which runs by Germany. This is the a Swedish one, which runs by Sting Incubator in Stockholm, and provides knowledge about US, China, and Japan. And the last one, again from Germany in BioM, for Japan and South Korea. So all of them so all of them, what the startups get here is that they visit the different workshops and seminars, they participate in these activities through the different Go Globals. They can only go to one of them, not all of them. And what they get is knowledge, meeting people who have done a business in these target countries, or big representatives from big corporates from these countries who will be in the workshops and seminars. In some of this, they get to visit this target country and meet people there who have done a business there, or companies from this target country, they come to the different workshops and seminars in Stockholm, in France, or wherever it takes place. The duration is I think 6 months, but there are only 5 or 6 activities spread in the 6 months, lasting 1 or 2 weeks. So Canada, China, US, Japan, South Korea. But next year, this program will be the same as the bridgehead. So we will relaunch the program, and we will have partners who can provide this kind of activities, connections to target countries outside Europe, listed, and the startup will apply and choose which one of them they want to visit and stay. So that was all the programs that we have for 2019 to cover the different needs of the startups. I said in the beginning that EIT Health is really the network, and one of the reasons that I said is that we support companies who are related in a way to our partners, which means our network, right? So it's important to say that all of these programs require that the startup applying has a recommendation letter from one of our partners, which in our case here it's Region Skåne. Through Medem, through other entities, you have startups that are not probably situated in Medem, but you can talk to Region Skåne directly, to Anita or to Bengt, who case by case look into applications into companies and provide the support letter. So that's really important to have in mind, because we are here for the network. Of course, we want to expand to local ecosystems attached to the network, but this needs to be channeled through our partner in Skåne, which is Region Skåne, and Innovation Skåne. Okay? I don't have something else here. My contact details and my colleague Thara. You can really contact us whenever. Just have in mind that most of the deadlines is within March. The Head Start Funding and Catapult program, which is really and Bridgehead, very popular program so far. We have supported a lot of companies with these programs. All of this have 27th of March, except Bridgehead in 2 weeks, and then again in May. So it's and this happens every year actually. So at the end of 2019, we will evaluate all these programs, relaunch the ones who really work well, and reevaluate the ones who need to improve. And usually every year we have new programs coming, older programs probably fading out. So it's a 1 year cycle that this happens. Thank you very much.